Afghanistan is perhaps the last country in the world that one would expect to launch successful mega projects, especially since the country has been nothing but a war wreck, plagued with violence and poverty for the past 50 years. But today, and despite the endless hardships and misery, Afghanistan has launched and is halfway through the implementation of its first mega project with zero foreign aid and literally not even engineering advice from anywhere. The Kosh-Tepe Canal is a big project. It's like a man-made river. When it's finished, it will be one of the longest and biggest irrigation canals globally. People might wonder what this canal is, why they are making it, and how they managed to do such a huge task. The Kosh-Tepe Canal, stretching 285 kilometers in length, 152 meters in width, and 8.5 meters in depth, is an artificial river located in northern Afghanistan. Originating from the Amu Darya River in the Balkh province, it traverses through Jozian and Faryab provinces. About half of the canal's construction is finished, with the remaining work progressing swiftly. This acceleration is in response to the pressing issues of increasing water and food scarcity that currently plague the nation. Several countries sharing the Amu Darya River with Afghanistan expressed concerns about the canal potentially impacting their water allocation. Nevertheless, Afghanistan is determined to prevent this from occurring. It's worth noting that Afghanistan is the sole country that does not directly benefit from the river's resources, reinforcing its claim to its fair share of the water. The canal is really important for people in North Afghanistan. Over the past few decades, their land turned into a dry desert because of global warming, less groundwater, and not enough irrigation. Now this canal will bring water to more than 1 million Afghan people and let thousands of farmers start growing crops again. They will use 55,000 hectares of land to grow grains and wheat. Afghanistan hopes to sell wheat to other countries by 2028. This canal will help make their land fertile again and give them food and a way to earn money. It's a big deal for them. The project started in March 2022 and will happen in 3 parts. The first and second parts are about digging the canal, and the third part is about putting in water systems and other things. The Afghani National Development Corporation manages the project, and the government pays for it with money from taxes. At first, they thought it would cost $500 million, but now they think it might need $100 million more. We are curious about how the Afghans took on such a big project with old equipment, few experienced engineers, and no help from outside. Some Asian news articles criticized how they're building the Kosh-Tepe Canal, saying there were mistakes and bad engineering. But after checking, it's clear they were wrong. The government paid for and planned the project after carefully examining the land and soil. They didn't just send workers to do the job without a plan. One of the main goals of these studies was to make sure they wouldn't need expensive machines to move water, prevent floods in the winter, and make sure the soil was right. So they decided to build the canal on flat land that's about the same height as where the Amu Darya River starts. They also made sure the canal went through the most fertile areas and was close to towns and villages. This way they could use the land effectively and help the people who live nearby. After deciding where the canal should go, they hired 200 private contractors to work on the first part, which is 108 kilometers long. There were also 7,000 people driving haul trucks and excavators, including engineers. They finished the first part and are now working on the second part, which is 177 kilometers long. Each contractor used many excavators and lined them up with enough space for the haul trucks. The trucks would get filled and then go in an organized way to dump the dirt in low areas nearby. After a section is dug and given the green light by the engineers and supervisors, the machines move on to the next section and do the same thing, following detailed maps and plans. The first thing they did for this big project was to build 14 special gates with a bridge on top for vehicles. These gates are there to stop floods when it's wintertime or when it rains a lot, and the water in the Amu Darya River goes up. The 114 sections of the canal were kept apart by dirt walls a few meters wide. This was done to make sure the canal filled up with water slowly and to stop the soil from moving around. So they filled the sections bit by bit. They started with section number 1, which is closest to the Amu Darya River. Once that section was finished, they let the water flow into it. After that, they gradually filled the other sections as they took down the dirt walls between them. It's important to note that this canal didn't have concrete slabs on its bottom and sides. Some people think that's a good thing, while others don't. In our opinion, it's good because it allows for more natural irrigation about 1 kilometer away from the canal. Also, it helps keep the groundwater levels higher, which can be used as a backup water source during really dry times, like droughts. And there was a money problem, because using concrete slabs would have cost over $1 billion, which Afghanistan can't pay. They also built 2 concrete bridges, one for a big road and another for a train track. The Afghans chose to make things simple and used a strong concrete design that's put in place while it's being made, instead of using parts made beforehand. In phase 1 of the project, they connected a big network of pipes underground. These pipes are for watering the farms. Farmers who live a few kilometers from the canal can now use these pipes to get water for their crops. They also put in some big pipes to connect with water pumps in nearby villages and towns. In the last part of phase 1, they did something really amazing. They removed a lot of soil, like 1 million cubic meters, every day. This is a big amount of soil. And what's even more impressive is that they did it using old excavators and trucks from the 1960s. They planted lots of trees by the canal to make the soil stronger and stop it from washing away. They also planted different kinds of crops in a 20-kilometer area to see if the soil and irrigation systems work well. People who live near the canal are making more money because many workers have jobs. They're fixing up old farms and making the roads better. Even though some people said bad things about the project, the workers and the people they hired are getting paid fairly and on time. This is helping the local economy and making life better for many. Also, we noticed something interesting when we looked at the project. There are many different kinds of people working on it, and they seem really happy and hopeful. These folks include the workers, the farmers, and the people who live nearby. They've been living in a tough situation for a long time because of things like wars, not enough rain, not enough water, and lots of poverty. There's another cool thing happening because of this project. They're using solar panels to make electricity for homes and workshops. This is a big deal because these areas don't usually have electricity, so they're kind of cut off from the rest of the world. They're also using solar panels to power water pumps on the new farms. The project was originally set to finish in 2028, but now it might be done as early as 2025 because things are going faster. They're also building more bridges and culverts. We want to point out that Afghanistan, where about 40 million people live, is having a hard time. A lot of them live in faraway places and have very little food because the country is being treated really strictly by other countries. We hope that they'll do more big projects like this one, but about water, farming, electricity, and roads. This project is great, and it can help Afghanistan get better after all the wars and problems. It can also make Afghanistan a better part of the world. Do you believe that Afghanistan, with the Taliban in charge, can finish this big project and start more? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you.